Welcome to step 1 of the method. This is where you will discover what you fundamentally want in life. Why is this step so massively important? Well, the outcome of this step will be the guiding North Star you need to effectively search for your journey. What you decide on in this step will impact all the other decisions you will make during this course. Okay, but the question, what do you fundamentally want in life, seems to be a very big question to ask. So how do you begin answering it? Let us look at this question piece by piece. First, let's look at what we mean by the word fundamental. Then we will look into the what part and the want part. The word fundamental indicates that you're looking for something timeless, something that will always be true for you, regardless of where you are in your life journey. So for instance, saying that you want to attend a language school when you turn 70 years old is way too specific for this time horizon. You have no idea what you want and what you will be able to do when you turn 70 years. Now, if you say you will always be learning and growing, you're closer to the level of detail we are aiming for here. Will that statement always be true? Well, yeah, probably. This may well be as fundamental as you can get, but maybe not. Could it be that learning and growing is just a means to another end, and not an end goal in itself? For instance, maybe the actual end goal is that you want to feel enjoyment from learning new things, any new thing really. Or that you want to use what you learn to some particular end goal. For instance, to connect with more cultures in the language school example. So it's absolutely worth spending some time challenging yourself to see if you can go even deeper. For instance, when I was young, I thought I wanted to become rich. I could have asked myself, why do I want to become rich? But I didn't. Anyway, many years later I understood that the reason why I wanted to become rich was to have the flexibility to spend my time on what I wanted and to have a positive impact on the world. But then the question is, do I really need to get rich to have that kind of flexibility and to have a positive impact on the world? Well, not really. Can I make some changes right away to start doing what I want and to have a positive impact? Absolutely. So why then do I need to get rich? It might just be a detour to what I really want. So this is what we mean by what you fundamentally want in life. When answering the main question from this step, what do you fundamentally want in life? You will try to go as deep as possible. Now, let's move on to the what part of the question. When you say you fundamentally want something in life, what exactly is this something? Let's look at the life journey and some examples of what you could possibly want in it. For instance, maybe you want to live life as a healthy person, or create a family, do a startup, travel the world, climb a mountain, do some teaching, or drive your dream car. What are these things? Basically, they can all be classified as experiences. You want to experience life as a healthy person. You want to experience being a family man. You want to experience doing a startup and so on. But experiences are something only you have. Experiences are subjective. For instance, two people can experience the same situation very differently. Say you are on a date with someone, and say that you feel the date is going just fantastic. You're both laughing, sharing stories from the past and dreams for the future. The food is delicious and the atmosphere is great. You return home from the date with a fantastic feeling. But who knows how your dinner guest actually experienced the date? Maybe he or she didn't like the food nor the restaurant, just pretended to like your jokes and faked interest in your stories. What if he or she was constantly looking at the watch when you weren't paying attention? The point is, experiences are personal. This begs the question, are there more to life than merely your own experiences? What about the experiences of others? If you had a nice date, do you even care how your partner experienced the date? Probably you do, right? In addition to your own good experience, you probably want to have a positive impact on someone else. Take teaching as an example. Maybe you want to experience being a teacher, but maybe your own experience isn't everything you care about. Maybe you also want to have a real impact on the kids you're teaching. Hence, the something you fundamentally want from life can both be experiences that you have and impacts that you have on others. Now, let's look at the last part of the big question. What do you fundamentally want in life? Let's look at the want part. So why do you want something in the first place? We submit to you that there are only two possible reasons for why you want any given experience or impact. On a fundamental level, you want an experience or impact either because you believe it will give you good feelings, or because it in some way makes sense to you. Sound strange? Well, don't just trust me on this, let's put it to the test. Let's take buying your dream car as an example. Why would you buy your dream car? You may want to buy your dream car because you will be able to drive fast and feel the acceleration. It's very exciting. Additionally, maybe you enjoy the aesthetics of the car. You enjoy looking at such a beautiful item. And finally, maybe you value that other people will look at you with envy when you drive around in your fancy new car. But why do you want excitement, beauty and envy? Well, because all those things makes you feel good. This is not surprising at all. Most people would agree that people and other animals are doing things to get good feelings. Some people would even say that altruism doesn't exist and that good feelings are the only motivation for us. As mentioned, we don't believe that is the case. We don't believe that the chase for good feelings is the only drive for us humans. We believe there is another component. To illustrate this, consider the following thought experiment. Imagine you have the choice of doing two actions. Action 1 is taking a feel-good pill, and the second option is to helping out your neighbor moving a piece of old furniture. Further, let's imagine that both actions give you exactly the same amount of good feelings. So you get good feelings from helping out your neighbor, and you get good feelings from taking the pill, and the amount of feel good is exactly the same. Then the question is, what action would you deem better and why? Most people, when posed this question, would choose help your neighbor. Since these two actions give you the same amount of feel good, this tells us there must be another component, other than feel good, to explain why people value help your neighbor over the feel good pill. And we call this component make sense. The make sense component explains why you would do things that doesn't give you pleasure in the moment, but are good for you in the future. The make sense component explains why you would do things that are good for others, even if it may be painful for you. That is, sometimes you do things just because it makes sense. Let's look at an example. Maybe you want to teach kids instead of raking in big cash working for the industry. But why would you give up all that money and financial flexibility? Well, maybe you believe helping kids to become great grown-ups will make the world a better place. Maybe you believe that kids without a good education and positive impulses will become a liability to society. In other words, teaching kids makes sense to you. Granted, teaching kids also gives you good feelings. For instance, you will feel proud of yourself doing something good for the world. But teaching kids may also be painful, especially when the kids are acting up and don't listen to you. And this is often the case for improving the world and helping others could involve some pain. But taking the pain into consideration, you would still do it because it feels like the right thing to do. It makes sense to you. The point is, you can take any desirable experience or impact and boil it down to those two components. You want experience or impact either because it feels good or because it makes sense, or a combination of them. Okay, to summarize. When searching for answers to the question, what do you fundamentally want in life? We now understand that we are looking for the following. First, something deep and timeless. That is, something that is an end goal in itself and that will always be true. Secondly, something that are either an experience and or an impact on others. Finally, something that makes us feel good and or something that makes sense to us. Okay, I think that is enough talk for now. It's time for you to start chipping away on the main question of this step. What do you fundamentally want in life? You will do this by doing the following 4 activities. First, you will perform a few simple exercises to get more familiar with what you want in life and why. Secondly, we will dive deeper into feels good and makes sense. Can it be true that these in fact are the 2 most fundamental wants in life? And do we need both? Then we will share with you our simple guidelines for what we fundamentally want in life. You can consider to adopt and build upon these guidelines, or a version of them. And finally, by walking through a few simple exercises, you will give your first answer to the question posed in this step. Let's begin with an exercise.